Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Murph Codes, a Python tutorial that is intended to show you how you can use programming to solve, I don't know, whatever your computer-related problems are, quickly and easily without having to be a programming expert. Yeah, you don't have to be an expert to do this stuff. You just have to know that this is how you can do stuff. You can look this stuff up. It's very easy. Anybody can do it. What have we covered so far? Well, we built this funny little command line program. That works very similar to a spreadsheet. It doesn't have all the functionality of a spreadsheet, of course, because we're trying to keep it simple. And then we took it a step further and we started building a graphic user interface for that exact same program. Ta-da! Now, we haven't finished this part yet because, well, we had to take a little bit of a break due to Christmas and yada yada yada. Last time, we built this fun little box right here to allow us to take data from users, put it into records. It's not yet complete, though. All we've managed to do is display the text boxes and labels. And honestly, not even do a great job of that. Not gonna lie, this can be better. This can be better. For one thing, we have this set to a permanent width and height. We can eliminate that because we're going to need it to expand and possibly scroll if we get records that are super, super huge. Let's see, where is that? Alright, so this is the frame that fills in the window, but the actual window itself. Right here. We can get rid of that. Now it expands, gets bigger. It does leave everything center aligned, though. I'm not a huge fan of that, but I mean, we also ended up having to use pack instead of place. I still can't figure out why place wasn't working. I don't know. There's just something goofy about that. We might get around to fixing it. Who knows? What we're going for here isn't like, you know, we're not going for like enterprise level, you know, award-winning software design. We're going for good enough. All right? Every piece of software you have ever interacted with at some point, the developer has looked at it and went, nah, good enough. So here, same thing. That is the same standard by which we operate, although our standards are significantly lower because we don't have to consider our consumers' needs too much. We're going to be using it. This is an app for us. Alright, so it's just got to be good enough for us. If it looks like trash but we know how to use it, that's all that's required. Alright, so we're not too concerned right now that our record window ain't terribly fancy. We do, however, want to add a submit button that takes the data entry text, forms that into a string, and either inserts that into the record at the appropriate place, or appends it to the end of the file. And we could do that for new record. It would just append to the end of the file. Or for our headers, except we would change these to say header 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever. Does that make sense? Because remember how we made this this little frame here? We can close that. That's a little busy. We can close that. We don't need to worry about this just yet. We will be coming back to that. Meh, good enough. Oh, we don't need to worry about that just now. Do I have the window still open? No, I've got the prompt there. Okay. So we have our interface. Let's take a look at what we're doing here. Okay. So this is that widget, the frame that does our add record part. And we're taking in a default of no master, a default headers list, and a default empty record. Alright, so we create the frame, add it to whatever master has been assigned, make it fill up the whole space. Labels and text boxes are going to be dictionaries, I guess, for now. We'll find out if that even works. And then, if we passed anything to headers or record, we assign those. Then we check the length of record to see if it's anything but an empty one. Which means if we passed something in record, it'll skip this. Now we are going to want to change this up so that there is a different course of action if we did pass something, because we're going to use this for adding a new record but also updating an existing record. So in that case, what we would do is we would take the existing record and pass it into here as a list. Our headers would be whatever the headers are for the file, and our record would be the selected record that we're looking to update. Okay, so this is where we're going to do the if the record isn't empty part. And for that, I think we're going to do this just a little bit differently, aren't we? Because not only are we going to want the text for the label, but we're going to want to pre-fill all of our entries with the record information. So otherwise we could do this line here with another, if blah blah, but at this point record would have a length because we're going to fill it in with empties, right? Well, no, if we're going to create, or if we're going to fill in record with a bunch of empty data, we could just add the text there. It is part of TK enter. Watch me zip right on past it and not even see the darn thing. So I don't remember right off the top of my head. How to assign the value for an entry box? It's probably just text. Fine, here, we'll do this. Okay, TK enter. Don't need to know how to install it, just need widgets. Here we go. Okay, frame. We're pretty familiar on frame. Not really a whole lot we gotta worry about there. We can add borders and whatnot if we need to. Displaying text through labels, not worried about that. Buttons, checkboxes, entry, here we go. Okay. Now there is a text variable apparently we can be using. But I've never really had much luck with that actually doing what I needed to do. We will use the get though. They're not going to show us how to do it that way, are they? Because they're going to insist we use the variable. Which, let me tell you, that's kind of annoying. Let's see. If we're doing headers, though, and we want to bring in the text from the same headers index. We might want to rewrite this. Now, why am I not just putting I here? Why am I going through the effort of because this, if you recall, is a dictionary where the index is going to be the value of what's at the element of this list. Okay? When we look at a list, this is what a list is going to appear like. With a dictionary, which is what these two are going to be, we have a little something like this going on. And where this object is, as you might recall, an actual label or an actual entry box. So, we can't just reference this by the I value index here. No, we have to pass that I back to headers to return the value of our list to our dictionary as the index. Okay? I know it's a little on the confusing side, but the reason we have to do it that way is because here we're referencing headers, which is a list, and record, which is also a list. And in order to reference them by index, we need an index value that works for a list. Index values that work for lists are, integers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Index values that work for dictionaries are not. They are actually values that have been assigned as labels for the other information contained. This will still work better and probably cleaner than if we tried to get more fanciful with it. Now, we don't yet have a check to ensure headers and record are the same length, so I'm just going to do that. Because we want to test this out. We want to make sure we're getting some information into our entry box. Because, again, I'm not sure that I'm using the right the proper method for doing this, and I'm probably not, because they're insisting we use text variables, which uh uh I don't wanna. Okay, it just complicates things by adding another step. Because what you got to do is apparently you have to set up using a string var object, which is another object I'm not familiar with right off the top of my head. I would have to go and research what the methods and stuff are for this, how to interact with this object properly, all just so I can put some information in my entry box. If there's an attribute that lets me put that information in the entry box, I'm gonna go with that instead. Alright? It's just so much easier. So much simpler. Here we go, the entry widget. Yeah, no, see there, they're insisting we do it that way as well. Ugh. I don't wanna, because I would have to create a new object for each one. And that's just a real pain in the butt. So let's just see if it still lets us do it this way. It does not. Okay. Well, I suppose let's see if we can figure this junk out, because this is just adding an extra step. Honestly, I'm not a fan of that. Because now we just need another list. Ugh. Okay. Control variables. Acts like a regular Python variable in that it is a container for a value, such as a number or a string. When they say acts like, that not always. And this paragraph makes that very confusing because actually I don't think it is the control variable that should be checking that the widgets are all displaying the same information, but the widgets should be checking that they're displaying the variable's value, which would just make way more sense. Why would you do that? Okay, so we've got the thing. Now we have to set the darn record. I suppose it helps if I actually spell this correctly in all the places. See, this is why I'm not a fan of control variables in place of attributes for widgets. Because this widget should just have a get and set, instead of there being a separate object for that. In JavaScript, it works way better with like checkboxes and stuff like that. Like you just give them all the same name attribute, and the value that gets submitted will be whatever the the name attribute that has been selected. You know, I feel like it just works so much cleaner. This feels tedious to me. This feels so tedious. Let's see if we even did that right. Because who knows? We probably didn't. No, no, we didn't. We did not do that right. Why did we not do that right? Index out of range. Okay, so for every record we're appending. Oh, but that's only if it's not in the thing. Right, right. Okay. So not only that, we have to add a whole nother. We have to add a whole nother loop for D for dumb. Maybe. Maybe that'll work. TK is not defined. No module TK. Are they importing TK inter as TK? Is that what they're doing? That's probably what they're doing. Alright, let's try just removing that. How about now? See, this is why I hate this. Because I don't even know how it came up with that. I don't understand it. Because let's break this down, shall we? Because we're doing it the way that they say we need to be doing this. And we use the get and set. Right? Ah, that's what I did wrong. How about now? Hey, finally it works. Ugh. Freaking annoying. When I do my tutorial on JavaScript, you will see why I am in favor of them just doing attributes of the widgets themselves instead of this stupid control variable crap. Okay? I understand the whole, oh, but you could use the variable to set the value on multiple widgets. You shouldn't have to do that. The value exists. You know, if you need to create a function that updates the value on all the other widgets, that's easy enough to do. This is annoying. This is annoying, and I hate it. I don't like this. I think this is dumb. This method of doing it is dumb. Because look at what I had to do just to get the value here into here. I had to create a whole nother list. I had to populate that list with objects and then set the value of the object. And then I could finally pass it. That's like a whole bunch of extra steps. All to set the freaking text of the entry box. Because what am I going to do with this text? I'm going to take it from the entry box and I'm going to put it into a string. Well, first I'm going to put it into a list, and then I'm going to convert that list into a string. Those are transformative steps. All this is doing is setting aside a separate box, a complicated, over-engineered box, by the way, to hold the value that's already being displayed in the widget. Or that will be displayed in the widget, and should just be displayed in the widget if we had an attribute that let us set the value. Or a function that just let us set the value without having to do all this crazy nonsense. Because this get and set should just belong on the entry. On the entry widget itself. I shouldn't have to go through this extra step of creating a stupid variable object. It's dumb. That's all I'm saying. It's extra steps. It violates the keep it simple stupid aspect of Python programming, in my opinion. Like, I get what they were trying to do, but in doing so, they're violating the zen of Python. Like, it's dumb. Anyway, we got it working. So yay for stupid finally working. All right. Now, last thing we need to do is we need to add to our record a button. I can clean this up. I don't need that anymore. Okay, so let's get rid of that. Make sure it still works without any values in it. Still works. Alright. Now we need a button and a function that retrieves the values from our text variables, cobbles them together into a list, converts them into... Wait, do we even have to convert them into a string, or can we just pass those directly? Can we pass that string? We could probably just pass the list without converting it into a string, right? Because, yeah, our record data will be a list. Yeah, it's a list. So, we don't even have to convert it. We've already got the function doing that for us. Now, for update record and creating record, there's a difference of the existence of an item. That's really all there is there. So... I'm just wondering if we should pass that through the object. I mean, we could. We would just have to add one more variable. I'm not using item, am I? No, I'm not using item. Now, if we get past item equals 0, that's either create a new record or create a header. Which is essentially the same thing. But if we have a value there, we're going to want to read the record at that item. And then update the record at that item. By the time we're done with this, we're going to make this window do a lot of the heavy lifting. Like, a lot of the heavy lifting. It should still work this way. We shouldn't have to go and change our call to it. Because in add window, or add record... where is that? Where did I put that? Edit add, yeah. Do I have a method for just reading the header? I should be able to just read the header, right? Read record. Item. Yeah, there's no reason that shouldn't be able to just read the header at 0. Okay. Sorry, I'm starting to think about how we're doing the various subtle aspects of each thing now, because our frame is essentially done. except for we have to add a button that will have one of two functions. It's either going to add a record or it's going to update a record. In the case of creating a new file, when we run this, we're adding the headers. It's going to add a record to our file. So the very first thing we want to do when we create the file is add the header record. This could be the first one. When we're doing update record, we want to retrieve the existing record, populate the information there, except we don't, do we? Yeah, no, because we've already retrieved the record here. Right? So, my brain is it's chugging along here at a very slow pace. It's like I can connect the dots. I can get there. But it's just going to take a minute to calculate all of the moves we have to make to do that. It's a fairly straight line, but is it really? Okay. So, yeah, we don't have to do that. Because this will only exist in the part previous to this window being called up. Trying to figure out though how we can pass a value to the parent window. That's because we're gonna want something to catch the value of whatever our list is when we're done. I do want to have some dummy info here, though, in case we're running a test, so that it's not just blank. Otherwise, it will be blank. Alright. So. app is our main window, right? I want to try something. This is probably not going to work very well, so I don't really recommend doing this. But what do we got here? Record. If this works, that'll be amazing. It's amazing. Hey, Ube. I'm doing alright. I'm just kind of annoyed by the way that Python has decided they're going to handle the text in their text boxes. Because I feel like it completely violates the keep it simple, stupid idea behind Python. Makes things super complicated. Because you have to create an object and then populate the object in order to populate the entry box. And this object is separate from the entry box. Now the idea is it's so that if you have multiple widgets trying to show the same value, populating this one object, updates all of them. But I feel like you could just write a function for that, if that's a thing you needed, because I don't often need that to happen. Yeah. So, that's where we're at with that. Turns out this works, though. We create the window. The window shows the record. We update the information in the record. And then we just need to create a button that when we click it, it updates the record with the information that's been added to the objects that hold the information from our entry widget. Yeah, it does sound messy because it is messy. Because, alright, here's what we're doing. We create our frame, as before. We create our labels list, essentially, and our text box list. That's labels, text boxes. We're going to have a headers to populate the labels with. We're going to have records to populate the entry box with. But in order to take the information from our list of records, of record data, we need a list of objects. And then we set the value of the objects using the value from the record. And then our entry will display the information from the object. Which means to get the information back to the record, we have to set a whole nother step of adding an an update to update the object with the value that's been entered into the entry box, and pass that information to the record. Like it is very confusing, and it's dumb. In JavaScript, if you want to have information in your boxes when you create them, there's an attribute, and you just set the value in the attribute. That's it. When you change the value that's in the box, you have changed the value everywhere you need to change it because it's just in the box. If you need to call that information, there's a function that you call it from the widget. The widget has a get function that will return that value. With Python, you have to call the get value from the variable object, not the widget. And you have to create the variable object secondary to... Yeah, like this is the one time where Python gets it wrong, in my opinion. Well, not like the one time it gets it wrong, but this is one of those times where it really gets it wrong, because it's supposed to be simpler. That's kind of the whole credo of Python. Keep it simple. There's generally one way to do things, and that's generally the right way to do things. This is not the right way to do things. This is super stupid complicated. Because you could accomplish the same benefit, the singular benefit that I'm seeing to doing it this way, you could accomplish that by writing a function that just goes ahead and does that for you. This way, they've created an object that's over-engineered. Hey, no worries. If you've got something else to do, go ahead and go off and do it. I'm just trying to figure out how the heck I'm supposed to work around this stupid object thing. So, yeah, you have a great day. We'll check you later. More Metroid tomorrow. Friday, back to Legend of Zelda. So, we've got the record thing. It's being populated. We've got... let's see how we got the thing. It does the thing. We need the button to submit the information stored in record. Right? Now, if it closes the window, though, is that going to... Well, that shouldn't destroy the object. No, that just closes the window. If I understand it right. Do I have an example of closing the window? Create file. Okay. Okay, I did fail to write a check to ensure that the file actually exists. I'm not gonna worry about that though. Okay, so um I think I want to do that. Because the reason we're getting so many errors here is because some of this stuff is running, even if we abandoned creating the file. So let's try this again. New, create file, cancel. Okay. File. Aha, so it's not closing those. Alright, so yeah, we're not going with the C also on that at all because that no. Trying to see if there is a function for closing the window. I think we're just gonna have to Google it. Closing window with button. Okay. So the first one here, create a main window, add a button, assign root.destroy to the command attribute of the button, which would then close the window. But also, I think that destroys the object because that's using the class object's destroy method. And I don't think that's what we want to do if we want to be able to pass back the value. Okay. I think what we're going to have to do is just see what it does when we try it. Alright. Okay. That makes sense. New. It's still there, though. I mean, it erased the stuff in the window, but it didn't close the window. So, let's try this. Bullseye. We got it. Okay. However, that's to get the window to close itself. But did it destroy the object entirely? Um, okay, here it's trying to read the first record to get our header. So before we do that, there we go. Oh, that's not the one that I want. That's the one that I want. Sorry, I'm doing research for my podcast, and I'm watching Facebook videos on Flat Earth and such. Okay. What do we need to figure out here? Ugh. I'm not looking for validation. I'm looking for it to pop up a box. Here we go. This looks right. Ask for a simple dial integer. Okay, that's yes or no. This is what we're looking for. Okay, so they do have It won't be a message box, it'll be simple dialogue. Simple dialogue. And it seems pretty straightforward. We just set a variable, simple dialogue, ask integer, and then we put in the prompt, declare the parent window, which is just the window that it's in, you know. Set a min and max value. I'm guessing those are optional. I could be wrong, though. They might not be optional. Okay, where were we at? Here's where we're at. Okay, so was it just ask integer? Am I spelling that right? Simple dialogue. Not capitalized. Okay, and then we need a prompt. Oop. I don't know if parent is going to be required, but let's see here. It's a new window. Self. Okay, so now when we do new, hats. Okay, since the file was created, but may have to change up the order of stuff here because I think my operations, my conditionals, are blocking me from getting to here. Try that. Here we go. No such file or directory. Well, see, now I'm not even sure which branch I'm in here. Okay. Because it should check if it exists. Documents. That's what I'm looking for. Hats. Let's get rid of hats. Okay. All right. Okay, and then out of range, because of course. Because our next step hasn't been done yet. However, if it exists, it should confirm the file creation, saying that it already exists. And this should be a message box. And then we can do self dot destroy and close the window. That should work, right? And why am I asking you? I'm supposed to be teaching you. Okay, so file, save, run. Run the module. Okay. New. Kittens. Should already exist. Create the file. Already exists. Clicking OK will overwrite the existing file you're sure wanting to continue. Cancel. Oh, right. It's a lowercase I. Run the module. New. because we know kittens exist. Cancel. Okay. New. Hats. Okay. How many fields? 15. Does nothing. Seems to work. That's because we got to here. We confirmed we got to there. But we still have to finish the creating the thing. Okay, so it'll check if it exists. If it exists, it pops up saying it already exists. Would you like to overwrite it? If they say no, it'll abandon the operation with a nice little pop up here. This will be if it doesn't exist. In which case it should just do the thing. Just go ahead and create it. Say file created. We can also make this a message box instead of a print statement. Created thing. We go successful instead of completed. Okay. Now, either way, we should be at this point where it should ask for this. Because the only time it should break is if the file didn't exist and the user, or if the file already existed and the user said don't create it. Right? Because if it doesn't exist, we're going to assume create it. If it already exists, give them the option to overwrite it. If they say don't overwrite it, abandon entirely. Otherwise, proceed to here. And here I am going to put in a little print statement. This is to let us know if we got here. If we got here, everything is working as expected. Okay, run the module. File, new, hats. Create the file. Already exists, let's overwrite it. Okay. How many records? We got yay, we got to there. Perfect. Doesn't matter what number we put in here because it doesn't do anything yet. We'll want this to exit out after we've created the record. But right here is where we create the record. Because we've gotten this far. We know how many. I can also get rid of that. Okay. Now you remember this all this wonderful stuff we did here with the window that pops up and you do the thing? This is where the rubber meets the road. Alright? This is where we determine if our little window is adequate for its purposes. Because now we have the number of records, or the number of data fields being asked for. So, where do we have the thing where it pops up the new window? Right here? We're going to go ahead and grab that. We're going to go ahead and drop that right here. Now we have our header length. For in range 0 to header length. I don't think we're using H in this scope. We don't need that. That's not going to do us any good right now. And besides, we may have to come up with a different way to pass that back. So, we create the window. We tack onto the window our create new record. Alright, so file, save, run the module. New file. Planets. Whoops. Someplace we forgot a box. Number of fields, 8. I misspelled header length. H is not defined. Ah! Except we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Oh, what is it? Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus. Okay. So far, so good. Now, we just need a way to return this value list as a record. And now we already have an idea for how we're going to do that, because remember, I can probably get rid of this now. If it sets up with no record data, then we're going to want to create a new record. I really need to add a scroll bar to this. Yeah, don't worry, we'll get to that stuff in a little bit here, but first order business. Because we got to here, we need to add a button. And we can use this very same simple method with the update. Although, I may want to put that in here. So when we do update, like that function will run from this window and then close this window. And then cascade up to the next one. That one will determine if it's done and then close. Next one will determine if it's done and then close when it's done. So we're making progress here. We're also at almost to 2 hours. But what we're going to do, because we have add and update, and this is basically going to just determine how the button behaves. If there's an item value, and that'll be determined before we even get here. If there's an item value, that item is the record. Like, not the actual record itself, but like the number. The record number within the file. Like, is it the first record, the second record, the third record? Yeah. With this method, headers will be unchangeable once they are set. But what we're gonna do we'll run that. In which case we're just going to define record submit button here. And what'll this do? Take all the current values of self dot, what was it, record var and cobble together a string. Then append, cobble together a list. Append the list to the file. Because by this point we do have our file directory and file name, don't we? File directory, file name. Where's our problem start? Right here. This is where our problem starts. So this needs to go here. Alright, this is where we start running into issues because we're trying to read the record for the headers. There are no headers. We're trying to read the record, the list of records. There are no list of records. That's all stuff we'll fill in later. But right here, we should be fine to do that. And that I don't even think we need to do this, do we? Because here we're basically doing the same thing. We create the file. We're getting the file name from there. We're getting the file name from there. So yeah, this is done both times already. So I don't even think we need to do that. And each time we're creating the Cruddy Buddy object already. So yeah, that's just being redundant. We don't need to do that. We are here. We've got our how many records. Because we're assuming we're in a file creation, right? And it's just, you know, trying to determine, does the file exist? Does it not exist? If it already exists and we don't want to overwrite it, we just exit out of here. But if it does exist, we can overwrite it. If it doesn't exist, create a new one. And that's right there. I can probably even simplify this because it looks like, again, we're having multiple things happen at the same time, or we're having the same thing happen in multiple places. And we only really need it to happen once, and that's if they say no. Or if they say okay on the overwrite. Or if they're just proceeding as normal. Because the only real tangent we need to go on is this one here. So I could do that. So what have I done here? If it exists, we ask if it's okay to go ahead and overwrite it. If the return condition on the message box is no, then it's just going to print off, or it's going to pop up, cancel, abandon ship, no way, and it'll destroy the window. Otherwise, it'll just proceed as normal. In which case, we should be able to just do this. Maybe? Let's see. Let's see what happens. Invalid syntax. Unmatched. Right? Because I deleted it from the other end. We're also not done here. We'll come back to that in a minute. Okay, so file new. Let's try one that we already know exists. Cancel. No changes made. Except we got a whole bunch of weirdness. What's going on here? Invalid command name top level limited tree. Yeah, it's not supposed to do that. Did we overwrite kittens? No. Okay. Are we here? See, we should not be there. Okay. So, apparently we can't just shortcut our way through around that. Alright. Let's just make sure we didn't totally screw things up now. So no, new file, kittens.txt, create file, no thank you, hit OK. I still don't understand what's going on here. Line 147, can I get Windows, options, show line numbers, there we go, 147. Okay, we're still getting to there, and it's saying, we can't do that. Because, what are we trying to do here? Right. Because apparently we need a file name. Because why not? Complicate the heck out of this crap even more, right? Alright, now where is that at? Right here? See, it was working a minute ago. Now it's not. Because it's decided, oh, nope, you gotta have the thing. If you don't have the thing, you're doing it wrong. Alright, so... that still didn't fix it. I mean, it also shouldn't be doing that, though, if we're here. Or here. Because we're getting to here. I don't know, can I do that to... Okay. That hijacked the flow. Now, what I have done here is I have basically just made it return from the function. Normally, you would put a value after this, but this just means exit the function. Whatever function we're in, kick us out of it. This kicks us out of it. Alright, now we should still be able to get to here, though. Oh, now I got the hiccups. And as you can see down here, we made it. However, now it looks like there's a bunch of stuff there from last time. What is going on? Because there should be just another line of this right above that. Oh, whatever. Okay, how many? 8. There we go. Okay. Exit. Let's close that. Okay. Can I clear? No. Okay, fine. Fine, we won't do it. We'll do it this way. Alright. Run module. Cancel. Okay. See, the one I'm trying to not get is this one here. Because we don't need that. There's no reason that should be getting tossed out. Okay, and so far we haven't gotten that, which is good. What happened? That's what I'm looking for. Except this is in my way. How many data fields? 8. Hit OK. Perfect. Because what's going on here, there's nothing to stop the thing from continuing on to try to read headers and whatnot. Because this, after it ends, it's not sending back any information, so it just proceeds on. Okay, I think it's doing what it's supposed to be doing now. We can close that for now. We can close this for now. Planets, kittens, hats. We'll delete the hats. We'll delete the planets. Where are we at? 2 hours and 15? Not bad. Okay. So a couple changes I will have to probably make to the code is I'm going to have to go through and find all the stupid places where we have an entry where we're not doing this kind of garbage. Thankfully, we don't have a lot. I think we may have already handled it. Hold on. We have no data entries there. We have a data entry there. We've taken care of it. Change directory just opens a dialog there. Planets should not exist. Asking for number of fields. Okay. Now let's analyze what's going on here. On line 1219 of the... Yeah, no. We don't need to worry about that. 169 in create file. 169. Okay. What that tells me is it's proceeding on with trying to read records and such before we've actually done anything. Because it's trying to update the view in the main, so we can go ahead and comment this stuff out for now, because we're doing that backwards anyway. We're trying to update something from a lower level thing. Okay? What we should be doing is, once we're done with this, the button or function that called it should then run a function to update things doing this. Alright? And the reason for that is because we want to create the record. We want to update the record, and then we'll close this. We'll close the create file window, or the adding record window. But yeah, I think once we've gotten to this point, we're good. But where did we get that where we update the records? Or the view? Is that something we're also going to need stupid string objects for? Ugh. Probably. Probably. Ah, it's right here. Okay. I mean, we could probably even change this function to, well, no, I don't suppose we can send it parameters, can we? Because we're calling it from here, but we're also calling it from the other thing. But we'll update the window anyway, and we'll do that. We'll make this a function of the main window, and then we'll just call that function at the bottom of the opening, creating, deleting, adding, and updating, because that's where it would make the most sense anyway. But we'll do that next time. There we go. That makes more sense. We don't wanna just toss out this code. We're still gonna use it. Well, hey, welcome back. You guys are back just in time to watch me sign off because we are done for the day. I've reached a point where it's like, if I keep tinkering with this, I'm just gonna drive myself nuts. But I can at least give y'all a demonstration of what it does now. Because we are closer to being done with this app. Okay, so if we open an existing file, oh no, did I overwrite the... I overwrote it, didn't I? I did! When did that happen? When did I end up overwriting the kittens file? That annoys me. That annoys me. I don't have anything in giraffes, so let's go ahead and delete that. Doggos only has the one. Kangaroos has nothing. Let's get rid of that. Plates? Supposed to be planets. Okay. Yeah, not that one. There we go. Okay. Here we go. Of course, now I have to recreate the kittens file, don't I? I do. I guess we're not quite so done. I guess we're not quite done. We're not as done as I was hoping we were. Because darn it, I screwed up the file I was working with. Of course, now I have to figure out at what point I screwed that up, because it shouldn't have overwritten the file if it exists, and yeah, because here is where we're doing that work. Okay. If it exists in the directory, we ask if we want to overwrite the file. And if they answer in the affirmative, we take the file name and the file directory, and we create a new file object, and we run the create file, which actually makes the file. And then we say, hooray, we're done. We did it. Now, if the file doesn't exist, it skips over all this. Comes down to here. Where we have, are we here? And there it just creates the file. But it only gets here if it's already corrected. Or already checked it. So. Like, shouldn't overwrite the file. I'm pretty sure my logic is sound here, too. Because here, if we abort the operation to overwrite the file, the window closes, we return to wherever it is we called from. And we called from... Where did we call from? We called from the thing. File new. Right? File new. Yeah. Create file. File new window. New window. Okay. Create file function. So yeah, it's not like we're going about it a different way. This is the only one way to do it. So, why then? If yes, do the thing. Spit out that it was successful. Else, if not, then don't do the thing. Declare that we have not done the thing. Close the thing. Exit the function. Otherwise, proceed normally. And ignore that bit. We'll do something about that later. Okay, let's see what we're doing here. Okay, run this module. Okay, kittens. What? What? Hey, there we go. Progress. Okay. First header. Name. Yes. Next header. What did we have? Color. And fluffiness. Okay, let's add a record. Name is Tom. Color is... Is gray as a color spelled with an E or an A? Self-destroy sounds a bit drastic. It does sound a bit drastic. Fluffiness. Why is there a line break there? Did I not remove the line break? I probably didn't remove the line break. Your sentences in English here, in the United States. I'm thinking there's a localization function that's happening because one of your devices is set to translate for you or something. I have no idea. It's probably translating it for you on your phone. Just another fun feature from iPhone. Automatic translation. Because to heck with what you actually want. We're going to guess what you want and deliver randomness. No, let's add another record. Felix. Whoop. That's not what I wanted. There we go. Add a new record. Black. Now, if I say no, it loops back to asking for the name of the file. Well, I suppose that's the way I had it running before, right? Yeah. Okay. So we have two records there. Let's quit. There we go. Now, when we run this, open kittens. Okay. We have records showing up, which is what we want. That's correct. Now, if we go new, kittens. Same file name. Create the file. Overwriting it will, are you sure you want to continue? No. No changes were made to kittens. Let's just confirm that, shall we? Okay. Seems to be telling us the truth. So far. File created. Perfect. How many fields? We'll say 8. I've got to get that to resize. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Although, for headers, I should really do +1 so that it's not confusing to the user. But we're not gonna worry about that right now. Okay, so far so good. No errors so far. Why do I have 2 now? Okay. Whatever. So. Okay. Still created the planets thing. But now, if we run it again, planets file exists, but we want to overwrite it. Create the file. Already exists. Do you want to overwrite it? Hit OK. File creation successful. How many records? 8. Now it's just me. Or did that pop up twice? Because it should not have popped up twice. I see why it popped up twice. Because it proceeds through this. We want to go back to doing this way, I think. Because what this should do now is, if we say no on the cancel box, or on the OK or cancel box for the overwriting the file, it should kick us out of this function. Alright, so open kittens. That still works. New file. Planets. We know planets exist, but it doesn't. It helps if I spell it right. But it doesn't have any information in it. If we overwrite the file, created. How many? 8. It only popped up once. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Close that. Close that. Don't have any weird random windows open. Let's try one that doesn't exist. Hats. Create the file. File created. No arguments. How many? 4. Okay. That's to be expected, because what is going on there? We're trying to make the button before the button exists. Or we're calling the function on the button before the button exists. So we can actually go like that. We can put that up here. Hopefully that would take care of it. But there is nothing in here. So just, you know, return nothing, I guess. New. Kangaroos. Although it's weird that it only came up when I created a new file. One, two, three, four, 5. Okay. I think things are working. I think things are working the way that they're supposed to be working. Kind of. I feel like we have spent this session fixing more things than actually making progress, which is kind of annoying. But, yeah, we managed to get things accomplished. Hooray! Yeah. So, like, we must have done that twice that last time or something. Before the, yeah. Anyway. So, I'm gonna call it there, because, too much Python is bad for the brain. And I think I'm at my limit with just how much of the stupid I can deal with this thing today. We managed to simplify that. I'm probably going to regret having just deleted that line, but meh, whatever. It seems to work. We tested it different ways, right? This I'm not going to delete yet, because that I want to put in a function that exists out here somewhere, but I have to rewrite massive parts of it. This will do as a message box. I mean, first we'll have to check the whether or not anything's populated for the file name and file directory. And then we'll pop up a message box. Do you want to delete that file? Are you sure? Python actually is usually far easier. I don't know why it's giving me so many problems today. Um, I think it's just because we've been working quite closely with one of those few random parts that doesn't seem to conform to the way that you would anticipate it does things. You know how every programming language, there's that one little thing where it's like, okay, you've been doing it this way for everything else, but for this one thing, we're gonna make it weird. You know? Um, this is where it does that. And thankfully it's just for this graphic user interface uh, library. I don't know that the other ones have followed suit with how they do things here. They probably do things their own way. I would imagine so. I would hope so. But we're trying to use what comes prepackaged with Python. There are alternatives. There are alternatives. Alright, so this will just be a simple pop-up message box. Are you sure you want to delete the selected file? If there is no file, it'll pop up saying, hey, dummy, you have to open something before we can delete it. Adding a record. We're kind of there. Because it'll pop up the thing. However, I've erased all of our test data. And since we don't have... Here, let's open that up. There we go. What I want to do next for this adding a record is have it read these and populate that. And it should be able to do that. We've done that before. Or similar stuff to it. In fact... I'm probably going to totally screw this up here. Let's see here. File open. CB read record. Zero. I need this to be a list, though. Yeah, no, that should be right. That should work. Let's see. I keep saying I'm going to sign off here, and then I just keep doing more. Can you use SQL instead of files in Python? Yes, you can. That is an option. Hey, look at that. We managed to populate our thing with the things. Do you see? Do you see the things with the things? Nah, we did the thing. It's still not stripping the new line character off of that, though. And it should be. Because there's this big empty line between fluffiness and that, and it's from that. I was pretty sure we took that out and put that back in, or we 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 already set it up to take that out and put it back in. What are we making? Prototype 04. We are making a text file, sort of like comma value or comma separated values, sort of spreadsheet creator thing. Uh, Basically, it's a CRUD app. Create, read, update, delete. We've already made it in command line. And now we are trying to make our command line module work with a graphic user interface. So we can make actual, like, desktop applications and stuff. This is all just an example, but it's a working example that we will be able to make use of in the next part of the tutorial, where we're going to create games. And those games are going to have, characters and monsters and whatnot that get information from these text files. And to be able to make them up quickly, we have our little app where we just do. So, now we could do SQL instead of text files, but I'm trying to keep it simple where we're not also having to learn SQL, where we're not having to try to figure out which module we want to use for SQL, because there's a couple of them that we could use. I would also have to walk you through how to install your SQL programs. Yeah, we could also use JSON. There's a couple different ways we could do this, but what we're trying to go for here is just working with what comes prepackaged with Python. That's why we're also using the idle editor for now. I don't want to have to walk people through how to set up, configure, and troubleshoot their text editors. Any text editor is fine. If you have one you prefer over idle and you know how to make it work, great, use it. Good for you. But if you want help in how to install Sublime or Atom or Code Blocks or the 18 billion other options that exist out there, I am not going to do that because there's too many options. I actually would show you how to set up VS Code because that's what I use most of the time. Particularly when I'm doing like JavaScript and stuff. And we'll probably do that when I switch over to doing JavaScript. But right now we're working our way through Python. Anyway, what comes next after all of this is once we get this app working, the next thing I want to do is I want to create an app where we can send this information from one system on our network to another system on our network, which means sockets. That's right. We're gonna I'm showing how to do file manipulation, build a graphic user interface, and network programming. All in a very basic tutorial sort of thing. We are pretty deep into the tutorial at this point. It hasn't gone completely smooth, but I think the rough parts really do a good job of highlighting how the process actually works for programmers. It's never just, oh, I have an idea, sit down at the keyboard, hack away, and suddenly I have a working app in 10 minutes. It's never that. It's, you have to think your way through the problem. You have to decide how to solve each step along the way. There's going to be a lot of, looking stuff up if you can't remember how it works, and I can't remember how half of Python works. I've been working with it for years now. Years. Yes, I populated the things with the things. That's important. Now, people jumping in at this point in the tutorial will probably be lost, but they can go back all the way to the beginning and watch it from the beginning and hopefully get up to speed. I don't go super heavy in depth on the things other tutorials get bogged down with that bored the crap out of me when I was first learning this stuff. Like all the different kinds of variables and math and, you know, passing things by reference or value and like all that nonsense. Like, yes, if you want to be, working for Google or whatever, it's good to know that stuff. But if you're just trying to figure out how to make this work on your own computer so you can make things for yourself, to make your own life easier, so you could build yourself something stupid simple like like a little converter app. Like, you just regularly need to know how to convert, feet into meters. That would be super easy by this point. Because you would know how to make a window, how to make a function that converts it from feet to meters, how to get the information from an entry, feed it into the function to make that calculation for you, and how to display it in a label at this point. Like, that's easy at this point. You could also argue you've found a way to make a logging app. Like, if you needed to log various things, you can append data to a text file again and again and again and again as you needed to. We have solved a lot of problems. We have shown how to do a lot of different things. We haven't gone super in-depth into, like, the applications for how you can use the stuff we've learned to do. But I'm hoping people watching, people who have been following along, if there is anybody who follows along with this, they've been able to ascertain, oh, hey, with that I could do, these things and those things, and okay, so I know how to do that, and I can use that for the various things I need to use it for, not necessarily making this. But as an example for, use case and stuff like that. 'Cause yeah, a lot of tutorials I've run into with Python or any programming language, they assume you want to become, like, a professional developer, and that's going to be your thing forever. Which I feel has always been kind of elitist and isolating to those who are just looking to dip their toe in, I mean, at this point, if someone were to jump in and take a look at this, they would go, what in the world? No, we're a little past the very, very basics here. But honestly, not that much. Not that much. We've put a lot of hours into our tutorial so far. But, we haven't gotten super complicated with anything. We haven't gotten super bogged down with any, with anything too heavy. Our code works. There we go. For the most part, anyway, it works. It looks intimidating at this point, But all of these lines were added in the tutorial as we added them. And a lot of this stuff I actually looked up on the stream while I was doing it, because I couldn't remember how to do it. Quite simply, I couldn't, so I looked it up. And then I attempted it. Oh, and it will look intimidating to people who don't know Python by this point, but if you followed the tutorial up to this point, you'd probably recognize what all this does. You might not fully understand every little, nuance of what's going on here, but you don't have to. That's not the point of this exercise. The point of this exercise is just to create something that works. And we've kind of gotten there. We've kind of gotten there. We've had to change things around a little bit. We still have random bits like this stuck in there that we're going to put somewhere else and rewrite in a little, little different manner than what we've got it there. But our program is still less than 250 lines for the graphic user interface, which is actually kind of impressive. How much is our Cruddy Buddy app? Like the original. Options, show line numbers. The original, the command line app that we wrote that does all of the heavy lifting for our graphic user interface is also under 250 lines. And we're still using this module that we wrote because we didn't just make a script, we made a module. It operates as an independent script. If we wanted to run something from the command line, we have the option. We would just run the module, the basic module, first thing we did here, which handles our create, read, update, and delete functions, not only for our records, but our files as well. Also comes with a couple of helper functions. And then we've got this here, which is just the script to run it. Gives us the menu so that we know what we're doing. We have our options. Gives us all the output to tell us that things are moving along the way they should. And that command line interface, or that command line app that we've got here, is still being used here because we imported the very thing that we wrote into our graphic user interface, and we're making it do the heavy lifting. The create files, the writing records to those files, they all happen through that module that we pre-wrote. So, and we're a little deep into this, but if you followed along, or if you go back and watch from the beginning, and I think it's all still there. I might have to export some of it to YouTube pretty soon. I exported the first several sessions to YouTube already. So if they've dropped off the VOD, because I think they drop off after 60 days. But they still exist on YouTube. So it's still there. You can still start from the beginning, follow along, see how we got to this point. It seems like a lot of hours, but watch it on double speed. It'll go by quick. It'll still make a lot of sense. And, yeah. We've gotten through quite a lot of stuff. Quite a lot of really dense knowledge. in really not nearly as much time, I think, as it probably would have taken if we wanted to super deep dive in on everything. But I don't know about y'all. I don't feel like doing super deep dives. So, one thing I do want to take a look at won't be this stream because I am done. I am signing off here. This is, I know it's been like 2 hours of me saying that I'm done. I'm signing off, and then oh no, I gotta correct this thing. I gotta fix that thing. I gotta no, we're gonna be done. But final steps we're gonna have to take here before our app is done. We have to add the button to our records window so that when we make changes, when we're done in there, it sends that information to our Cruddy Buddy module to write the record to the file. And then we use our update view function for the main window to repopulate that main window so that it's got an updated, with all the changes that have been made. Because we're making the changes as they happen. It's not going to be one of those things where we make changes, they sit, and then when we close the window, it all gets saved to the file or something stupid like that. No, we make the changes as we make them, and they get made right to the file. Everything reads from the file to display the information. Everything writes to the file before it even bothers to show you the new information has been updated. So once we got that button in there, that'll take care of most of what we have to do. Then we have to make the minor modifications to make the buttons that add and update records work properly. Update, we'll have the message box pop up asking which record to update. That'll be from the main window view, so you'll be able to see the records right there. And you just type in the number for the record you want to change. Hit the OK, and that'll bring up our records window, which will have the labels populated by the headers from the file, and the text entry boxes populated with the information from that record from the file. And then you just make the changes, hit submit, and it sends that right back to the file, writes it. All those windows close down except for the main one, which just re-updates itself with the new information from the file. Deleting file will simply just be a matter of checking to see if a file has been opened. And if it has, ask if we're sure we want to delete it. If they hit the OK button on that, erase the file. Otherwise, abandon that operation. Deleting record, it'll pop up a very similar text box for what record you want to delete. And then we might pop up a record window asking are they sure. Otherwise, I think we could just do that as a message box as well, or a simple dialogue. Probably probably one of these OK cancel boxes. We would just take the record information and put that in our prompt. And that would probably be the cleanest way to do it. But that's how we tackle the rest of this. It's not really all that much. It seems intimidating. But considering how far we've come, it's really not. It's actually not. It's not it's not real bad. It's a lot simpler than a lot of the stuff we've tackled so far. And then once this is done and working, we're going to make one more app that will help us send this information over the internet, over the network, to another device that's listening for the information. So that we have, network communication happening. So there will be a sockets tutorial. After the sockets tutorial, that's when we finally show you how to install modules not included as part of the Python library. I'll show you how to set up virtual environments so that you can set up an environment where you're simply working with the modules you've installed and you don't have to worry about maintaining those quite so much, or worry that, script you're writing, for other projects will conflict with the different packages you've installed for other projects. Let's see. At some point, I'm also going to show how to do graphic user interfaces with Kyvie. I don't know if Kyvie's been updated for 3.10 though. I'll have to check into that. We may have to look at installing a different version of Python, maybe, in order to make that work. But we're going to do Pygame first, and then we'll do Kyvie. We'll worry about Kyvie after. Kyvie will be for all of you who have been programming on your cell phones, wishing this whole graphic user interface thing worked for you. It won't. It only works on PC. The command line stuff should work on your phone if you're using the QPython app. But once we got to graphic user interfaces and started working with the tkinter module, you guys need to use something else if you're working on your phone. And that'll be Kyvie. But in order for us to start working with Kyvie, I need a Kyvie that works with the version of Python that I have installed on my computer. It's been a while since I checked, but last time I checked, Kyvie had not yet been updated for 3.10. 3.10 was kinda new when we started this. That was like a month, 2 months ago. It was a while ago. So, it might be updated by now. But we'll get to that. After all of that, I plan to start a HTML, CSS, and JavaScript tutorial, so that you can learn how to do all of this nonsense once again in a completely different language for the internet. I may go so far as to show you how to do PHP. Maybe. Maybe. It's a big maybe. Mostly because, I understand how to work with PHP. I just haven't done so extensively, So, we might get into that. It might be a bit of a learning experience for all of us, me included. But, that's what I'm hoping will come down the pipeline here with this whole coding session stuff. But as always, that's not the only thing happening on my channel. Tune in tomorrow. We'll be playing Metroid. The NES classic Metroid again. We've still got our final push to Mother Brain. We've made it to Turian. We got eaten by Metroids last time. They mopped the floor with us. It was not good. But we'll have an entire session where that's That's all we have to do. Beat Mother Brain and leave the planet. So hopefully we can pull that off. And then Friday, more Korok seed hunting in The Legend of Zelda. We've beaten Ganon. We've expanded our item slots as far as we can. We've gotten all of the armor. We've upgraded most of the armor. The only thing we need to do is collect star fragments to finish upgrading the armor, which I'm doing off stream because y'all don't want to watch the farming. It's boring. The farming's so boring. But all the fun action of solving puzzles and fighting monsters and whatnot, we'll be bringing those. Oh, we still have to do mini bosses. We have the Taluses. I have defeated all of the Moldugas and Hinoxes. I just followed the IGN lists, got the medals for those already. But we will do the Taluses on stream, so you can see what goes into that. Once we've done the Korok seeds and mini bosses there, we'll have a little bit of fun breaking physics, testing glitches, seeing what we can do since we've exhausted all the options within the game. And then we'll play a little bit of Master Mode, because I want to see Sky Octoroks and Golden Bokoblins and Moblins and, all that wonderful stuff. And really see just how much harder they made it. I imagine it's a lot harder. And then, once we're done with The Legend of Zelda, I'm probably going to do some random games on Fridays. Just, because my library consists of a lot of just random stuff. So we'll probably pick up a game here and there and just give it a try. If something sticks, we might play it regularly on Friday for a bit. Who knows? Once we're done with NES Metroid, I'm thinking we'll do Other M, and then we'll come back and do one of the other games. Eventually we'll get to Metroid Dread. Don't worry, we're doing the whole franchise. Probably not in order, but we're doing the whole franchise. Except for the DS titles. Can't do those because I don't have a way to stream from my DS, which is sad. But all the numbered 2D exploration games and the Metroid Prime trilogy, we'll be doing those. And Other M. Reason we're doing Other M next is because, from what I understand, it's short. And also, not a fan of that one, but I want to do the whole franchise. As much of the franchise as I can, anyway. And I can do Other M, so we may as well get it out of the way. After Metroid, we'll probably return to Zelda with either Twilight Princess or Skyward Sword. Maybe Wind Waker. If y'all have a preference, there is a suggestion box on the About Me tab of my Twitch channel page. Go there. Cast your votes. What's the next Zelda game you want to see me try? We can do pretty much all of them. All but the DS games. So, maybe you want to watch me play Oracle of Seasons for some reason. I could do that. I don't care. I've got that. We could do Wind Waker. We could do Link's Awakening. We could do Link to the Past. I've already done Ocarina of Time. And I've done the original, classic, very first Legend of Zelda. So those two are off the table. And Breath of the Wild, we're wrapping that up. So those three are off the table. Any of the other Zelda titles, feel free to vote. We'll play that next. After we beat the Metroid franchise, though. Because we're going to return to that. We'll do a couple of games of Zelda. Then I'd like to try as much of the franchise as I can of Metal Gear. I'm a huge fan of Metal Gear. Have them all. I haven't played through all of them, though, because they get to be kind of ginormous after the third one. Guns of the Patriots is a big game. I've not made it very far through that one. And because I haven't finished that one, I haven't started Ground Zeroes and the Phantom Pain. I have them, but I haven't started them. So that'll be a new experience for me. But it's Metal Gear. It's not really much new under the sun, other than, some of the bosses get a bit weird. But they started weird, so. Oh, you didn't get where to type in the Zelda title you want to vote for? Go to my Twitch page, where you're able to find me streaming this, and then you go to the About Me tab. Like, you might have to scroll down a bit, but there should be a tab that's got some information about me, as well as my schedule, past videos. I believe those are all various tabs that are on there. I don't know what it looks like on the mobile site, though, so if you're using the mobile site, you might have to fish around. But somewhere, there is an About Me tab, and on there, one of the panels is suggestions. And it's just the suggestion box widget, standard suggestion box widget. You can type something in, type a comment in, hit submit. But feel free to submit your pick for the next Zelda title you want to see me play through. And once again, our options are original NES, Adventures of Link, Link to the Past for Super Nintendo, Majora's Mask for the Nintendo 64, let's see, Twilight Princess for the Nintendo Wii, Skyward Sword for the Nintendo Wii. I have the Four Swords Adventure. We could do that on GameCube. We have, for the handheld, we have Link's Awakening. I do also have the remake that they did for Switch for that. And I have Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages. I'll probably play both of those simultaneously. The About tab is empty on the phone? That's weird. That's very weird. Yeah, I'm not sure how Twitch does the does it for the phone for that kind of information, but there should be something there, because I know I put something there on the PC. But I don't know. Maybe they emptied it. Maybe they decided that suggestion box was no longer compatible with their platform. I don't know. I'll have to look at that. What else do we have? Oh, Minish Cap. And, did I say Wind Waker? I think I skipped Wind Waker. Yeah, I skipped over the GameCube. I went straight from Nintendo 64 to the Nintendo Wii. Went back and mentioned Four Swords Adventure, but I also forgot to mention Wind Waker, because, doy. But yeah. all of the Zelda titles are available for me to stream for you, the consuming public. I'm happy to bring any of them. We'll do, I don't know, maybe one or two before I switch over to the Metroid. Maybe three of them if we're not going with anything too super huge. I mean, Breath of the Wild. That was a big game. That was a big game. None of the other Zelda games are nearly as huge content-wise. I believe Twilight Princess is only about an eighth the size of Breath of the Wild. So yeah, we should clip through those a lot quicker than we did Breath of the Wild. The Metroid games, we're gonna clip through those fairly quickly. The Metal Gear games we'll probably get through, decently. Like, a couple of the later ones do get to be kind of slugfesty and long, so we might do like the original first two games, and then like Solid, Metal Gear Solid. I'm thinking Twin Snakes rather than the PlayStation version. Feel free to sound off on the chat for that as well if you have a preference. We'll do VR missions, though I might tackle that unless I keep getting stuck in walls. Oh, that's gonna keep happening. We're gonna keep getting stuck in walls. However, for this next part of the Metroid run, I don't think there's any walls we have to worry about getting stuck in, because we don't have to do anything for the rest of our Metroid original NES playthrough except travel straight through to Mother Brain. Fight her, defeat her, escape the planet with our lives. Like, there's no, we need to go collect this. We need to, we need to make our way up to this thing. No, it's all pretty straightforward from here on out. Other games, though, we're going to have some fun. We're going to have some fun with some of those other games. But anyway, we're 3.5 hours in. I said I was signing off. I meant it. I hope y'all are having a great time watching. And definitely don't miss tomorrow's Metroid. Hopefully it's short. And then Friday's Zelda. I have no idea how many seeds we're going to collect, but it's going to be a lot. And then Saturday. I didn't even talk about what we're doing Saturday. Oh my gosh. Saturday. We have another horror movie at midnight. So, like, Sunday morning. And for y'all over across the pond, Sunday morning. We have The Hitchhiker. A classic horror. Like, the movie is even one of those that starts, "This could happen to you" kind of horror movies. Which, in my opinion, those are always the best, right? So, we'll have some fun with that. But yeah, that's what's going on for the next week. That's what's going on for the foreseeable future. At some point, I will get back to Resident Evil. I promise. I have not fully abandoned our playthrough with Billy and Rebecca stranded in the facility, poisoned, and surrounded by really, really pissed off little monkeys. We'll get back to that. Eventually. Eventually. But, we got some other stuff I want to get through first, so we're going to do that. Because I'm in charge. Anyway, y'all have yourselves a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. do all the things you're supposed to do with these videos. I don't even know what they are anymore. But there's a website and there's a Discord. Feel free to join. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. Bye.